Let's get you more detail. My colleague Linda Mnisi has been keeping an eye on developments at the Pretoria High Court, where the trial has been postponed until Monday, the 6th of June 2022. That's because the first witness in the trial, is not feeling well. Let's deal with that first, Linda, and your interpretation, or rather what you saw in terms of not advocate, I do beg your pardon, but Sergeant Meyiwa and him not feeling well.
Yeah, you'll remember that Sergeant Meyiwa has been in the stand throughout the week, facing a lot of tough questions, really being grilled about the work that he conducted when he arrived at the Khumalo home in Vosloorus. And it's been a tough week, really, for him. And given the fact that a lot of the questions had to be repeated, particularly where Advocate Zandile Mshololo is concerned, because at some point she did feel like he was not giving the relevant answers, was giving lengthy explanations when, in fact, he was asked straightforward questions. So it did really, become a tough week for him. If you also look at, of course, the answers that he's given over the past few weeks and the intricacies around the work that he conducted in that house, the delays, answering questions around the delays and the evidence that he took, how he stored that evidence, it really seemed like it was taking a toll on him. So the matter then having to be postponed to tomorrow. I'll just give you a glimpse there of what it's looking like. Those security officials from the correctional services now getting ready to transport the 5 accused men. They'll be going to the holding cells before being transported, of course, to the various prisons that they are being kept in. So they'll return on Monday for these proceedings to continue. Advocate Zandile Mshololo indicating that they still have a long way to go with this particular witness. As you look at her testimony or her cross-examination, it's very detailed, to looking at all the intricacies, who he asked when he arrived at the scene, and who showed him around, and the kind of evidence that he gathered, where he got the most important information regarding the scene, whether or not he questioned or interviewed the people who were in the house. Those are some of the questions that he's been facing, but also he's saying that today he took some medication, and that medication has some adverse effects on him, and that is why he is tired. He was asked by Advocate Mshololo whether or not he was okay. The judge even saying that he can see that Sergeant Meyiwa is not okay, so deciding then to postpone the matter to Monday. Advocate Malisela therefore also saying that they reluctantly agree to this postponement, but would like to also see the judge in chambers before the matter starts on Monday.
Let's get into the line of questioning, rather. As you mentioned, Advocate Mshololo asking him, did you inquire from the people in the house where the deceased was shot? He says he asked Colonel Ndlovu, and the advocate further going on to say, how then should the court accept this evidence, calling it hearsay, because even Colonel Ndlovu was not in the house when the incident happened.
Absolutely, and that is in the context of also Brigadier Ndlovu not filing an affidavit in this particular case. We heard how he only filed an affidavit in the 375 case. So at this point, there is no statement from Brigadier Ndlovu. As you would also know, the state can't call him to the stand because he's passed away. So there is no evidence that is going to come from him. So that is why then Advocate Mshololo is calling it hearsay evidence, because who is going to corroborate what he's put before this court? But also, you'll remember Sergeant Meyiwa saying that all the evidence that he gathered during his first arrival at the house, that is the evidence that was pointed to him by Brigadier Ndlovu. He says he did not go beyond what he was shown by Brigadier Ndlovu. He did not even interview the people who were inside the house, and neither did he take any gunshot residues from the people who were in the house to determine whether or not the shooter was amongst the people who were in the house. He says because of the delays that took place before he arrived at the crime scene, he understands that the residue would have been long gone from the hands and the clothes of the people inside the house. So it seems as though, Brigadier Ndlovu was quite central to the work that Sergeant Thabo Musia did and conducted in that house, because there is no evidence that he collected by himself without having been pointed at by Brigadier Ndlovu.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much. We'll pick this up again next week, Monday on the 6th of June.